of it is, you know, it's funny. Somebody came in my office and said, "Oh, they called Ray Lewis on steroids." I said, "You mean today on media day at 10 o'clock in the morning, the Ravens are on the bus and they get a kick in the groin?" But I tell you what, I got to give Kevin Byrne and the entire Ravens staff for the way they deflected it and made it seem like a non-story. And no doubt Kevin Byrne did a great job, and Ray's denial. And I like the way Ray casually laughed about it and said, you know, I'm not giving this guy any credit. I'm not going to sit there and define it. And I heard different sports guys say, oh, he's this, he's that. Let me tell you something. He never tested positive. That's number one. Number two, it was 2 years ago. And he, you know, how do you sit on a story for 2 years? Now, I tell you, I think something did come out 2 years ago, and it was laughed off then. So Sports Illustrated, and I haven't seen the issue, I won't buy the issue, I won't buy Sports Illustrated again. How do you sit on something and come out with perfect timing? But you know what? Enough said.
I think they're defying it too much, even talking about it anymore.
Well, let's move on then.
It was so outrageously close.
Well, that's why I had to talk about it. It's been bugging me. But the thing that I fear is Vernon Davis. Vernon Davis can beat the Ravens, but not this insipid, ridiculous story. We got so much to talk about the game, about where the Ravens are. But the funny thing about it is you have Harbaugh saying on Sunday night, well, we want to go to New Orleans, have everything peaceful and quiet. But that's just not the Ravens' way. It never has been. And a story comes out about what happened with the cheerleader. It was overweight. I didn't even know the story.
You know, these are non-stories, Bruce. The team is viewing this very much so as a business trip. They haven't been out on the Bourbon Street or nothing like that. This is a business trip, and the business is to win the Lombardi Trophy. End of story.
Yeah, the purpose of the game is to win the game. That's what Herm Edwards always says. That's what this is about. It's going to be a tall task to win the game. San Francisco, you're not fooling anybody. They're a great team. How are we going to handle Kaepernick? Let's talk about that first. One of the ways the Ravens lose this game is if for some reason this kid's able to use that option, that read option, and run the ball against us. Do you see it happening, Donald?
I see them containing him. When he's contained from the outside, can't get outside the interior line, he's not effective running because he's not a power runner. You know, he's not Tebow. So he has to get around. He's got to get around to the sideline. As long as they don't let him, as long as they contain him, then he's forced to pass on the run. He's a good passer. He's a good runner. But that's very hard to do for a whole game against a really good defense, and we have a very good defense.
Yeah, there's no doubt, and certainly Dean Pease has dialed things up. Terrell Suggs, now Harbaugh says Terrell Suggs is back to 100%. I love hearing that. All right, and Ray's had 2 weeks to try and get the arm where he can play and play well. Bernard Pollard is Pollard's at 100%. It goes on and on that this team is ready. But look how they shredded down Brady. Look how they took care of Peyton Manning. How the defense that was so suspect all year, you know, came up and rose to the occasion. So I don't know what Dean Pease is going to draw up to contain Kaepernick. This is a good offensive team. They're going to score against us. That's a fact. But you know what? Here's the bottom line, the way I look at this game. And that is, when you have your quarterback playing at the level that he is, we're going to be in this game. And we could control this game. Joe's been playing out of his mind. And I watched Matty Ice, absolutely take apart the San Francisco secondary in the first half. And if the Ravens get on top of this team, they're not coming back.
No.
The Ravens get on top 17-0. You know, they're not coming back with a rookie quarterback.
If we have 100% Suggs, it's game, set, point.
I believe that.
He is a difference maker in a game. He's a wrecking crew when he was last year. He was the player of the year. If he's the player of the year on Sunday, game, set, point.
If he's back, and there's no reason for him to have tired legs. There's no reason for Ray Lewis to have tired legs. Everything kind of worked out in a weird way. Ray Lewis missing 10 games. Now, if Ray Lewis had played every game, there'd be no way that at 37 years old he could be at the top of his game this week.
Ray spent 10 weeks rehabbing. Keep in mind it was his triceps, so he was able to maintain and increase his cardio. He does have fresh legs. Terrell has fresh legs. They've broken down game film. They know how to attack the 49ers. They will contain Kaepernick. He's going to be in for a very long day. They'll control the edges. One thing about the Ravens' defense is that they communicate very well. They kind of threw the Falcons' defense under the bus and the Green Bay defense under the bus. They weren't communicating. This team will communicate, and it will be quiet in the Superdome when we're on defense because it's going to be like a home game for us, isn't it, Bruce?
There's no doubt. You know, the rumor is 30 to 35,000 people from Baltimore going to this game, or Baltimore County or the area, and I believe that number's right because I've been following the tickets. I had trouble getting tickets. Eventually, I did at somewhat reasonable prices, but I've been following it, and you cannot get a ticket on the Ravens side of the field. The field's divided, Ravens and San Fran. And that Ravens side, what does that tell you? Number one, we have, without question, the greatest owner that there is. Why do I say that? You know, he got 14,000 or 15,000 seats, supposedly. And I'm sure he took it for his friends and the Gary Williams and those kind of people of the world. But he gave all the seats to the fans. You have your average fan was winning that lottery. It wasn't all the people in the club section. It wasn't all the people in the skyboxes. But your average fan was winning the lottery, and the average fan got those tickets, and he bought them. And you know what? Those were not the tickets on the market.
No.
These people are going. They're going down. They're driving down. They're going the best way that they can. And for that, I say hail to our owner, Steve Bisciotti, who had every right to take 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 seats, put them on StubHub, and make the money himself. But he chose not to, and he gave them to the fans. You know, and everything he's done has been for the fans. God bless him. You know, I have the ultimate respect for him because it's not every owner that does that.
No, he's a first-class owner. He's a class act. We're very lucky to have him. I think we can all agree upon that. 5 straight years in the playoffs, a winning record, 3 AFC championship games in 5 years, in the Super Bowl. You can't do better than that.
I think football is a game of momentum. If there's ever been a team with momentum, it's this team. They got off the ground, they got off the floor, they had all those serious injuries, they rested the right guys, they let them get over it. For the first time, everybody on that team is healthy. This is a team that's ready, just waiting to pull the trigger. And I think we're all waiting. I mean, it's hard to wait. It seems like it's been like a month since that last.
Yeah, Sunday, of course, I'll be with Dennis down there, and wait from like 1 o'clock to 5:30 New Orleans time, we're going to be punching the walls. I mean, there's no doubt you got the experience and you got who knows what you got, but it is. I agree with Donald that it's like the anticipation for this game to start and all this malarkey with the Harbaugh brothers and all that. It's got to go. And you know what amazes me? You would think that John Harbaugh is the worst coach in the world with the way the brothers getting praised, and Jim Harbaugh's a great coach. There's no doubt about it. He took a team that was nowhere,
sure,
and basically with the same cast of characters, you know, even with Alex Smith, he turned it around into an NFC champion. But holy cow, it's like I don't read anywhere where they don't say that Jim Harbaugh's a better coach than John. All right, the only guy who doesn't say that is Jim Harbaugh. But John has coached every facet of the game, and I have total faith in him. I'm not too happy about the whole Bryant McKinney situation. But again, maybe Bryant McKinney has fresh legs because he hasn't played.
He really does. He's very fresh at the time of the season.
He's the difference maker.
He is the difference maker.
Suggs are the difference maker.
Yeah, I think
you got 2 rocks, 2 huge boulders that they were both useless for most of the season. Now they're coming in fresh, ready to roll, and want to prove something.
Well, we talked about McKinney. Dennis has been screaming about this all year, and Donald, you brought it up as well, because it probably really hurt us in that game against Denver here, not having McKinney on that line. But what in the world was going through our coach's mind to keep up this doghouse with McKinney? And I can't for the life of me understand why.
It's turned out for the good.
He's rested, he's fresh.
And the fresher team is going to have an advantage.
And listen, there's no doubt. I mean, Ray's legs are fresh.
Oh, they are.
All right, and Suggs is fresh. I mean, the team across the line. And the other thing is that, you know, certainly we don't want anybody to get hurt, but it isn't like we haven't had the guys behind them playing.
That's the other
Everybody on the defense has been playing all year, and they talk about if something happens to Kaepernick, you know, Alex Smith could step in. Well, you know what? Alex Smith hasn't played in so long. You know, he's not going to be on top of his game. He's not going to be sharp. Yeah. You know, and yet Maryland, the Ravens guys are going to be ready to roll.
Next man up.
We don't
That's
have
what
anybody
I-
out. We don't have anybody out of this game that we need in this game, and we have guys who you normally wouldn't have played 10 minutes the whole season, who have played 100 minutes, and they're ready to play. If they need it, they'll come in and they'll play. These other, you don't know what San Francisco has on the bench, and we know our bench can work.
We ready to go, Charlie? Or okay? Got to head out to our first break. This is Bruce Posner. That's why I heard the music. You're listening to Coons Ford presents the Sports Maven. My main man, Dennis Koulatsos, is here from Coons Ford, and we'll be back in just a few minutes here on CBS Sports Radio 1300. He's not going.
I like
You're
the
not
Ravens winning 31-24.
Going down tomorrow night, Ravens 31, Niners 17.
Going down on Saturday morning, and I'm too superstitious to pick the score.
Oh my goodness!
I'm not going to do it because every time I've done it this year,
You guys
it's gone
converse.
south on me. I'm not doing it.
On advice
How
of,
you picked against the Ravens last time?
Emphatic.
on
31
advice
points
of
would be
counsel, he declines to answer. Counsel, do you have anything to say?
I think I don't think you get the Fifth Amendment on this. It's not a felony.
Well, it's too important for me to win, and I'm not putting any. I don't want to put any wrong vibe on him. Okay.
We got 31 over here twice.
Look, we got two. We got
31
two.
twice.
It doesn't matter how I vote. It's 2-0.
31 twice.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Wayne.